Good afternoon. We're going to call to order the virtual community hearing of the Public Service Commission of the District of Columbia, informal case number 1165, in the matter of the petition for implementation of relief for the 202 area code. I'm Willie L. Phillips, Chairman of the Public Service Commission. I am joined by Commissioner Richard Beverly. For the record, today is September 1st, 2020, and we are convening this hearing at 2:02 p.m. in a virtual setting. This community hearing is being held to discuss the petition of the North American Numbering Plan Administrator, or NANPA, on behalf of the District of Columbia telecommunications industry for relief of the 202 numbering plan area. In the petition, NANPA, on behalf of the District of Columbia telecommunications industry, requests the Commission to approve a new area code with an all services overlay throughout the entire district as relief for number exhaust in the 202 NPA. Absent this relief, NANPA represents that the supply of telephone numbers in the 202 area code is projected to run out during the third quarter of 2022. In order to ensure that the District of Columbia has enough telephone numbers for customers, NANPA requests that the Commission approve the petition no later than the fourth quarter of 2020 and approve a 13-month implementation schedule for the new area code. NANPA asserts that by adhering to this schedule, the new NPA will be implemented 6 months prior to the exhaust of the 202 area code as required by industry guidelines. NANPA asserts that a new area code with an all services overlay is the only form of relief that will meet industry guidelines for the district. NANPA explains that the proposed all services overlay for the 202 area code would superimpose a new area code over the entire geographic area of the 202 area code. NANPA represents that all existing customers with the 202 area code would retain the 202 area code and would not have to change telephone numbers. All calls within the 202 area code and between the new area code and the 202 area code would be dialed using 10 digits. NANPA proposes a 13-month implementation schedule for implementation of the new area code, divided into 3 stages. The first stage includes 6 months of network preparation. The second stage is 6 months of a customer education period in which customers will be permitted to use both 7-digit and 10-digit dialing within the 202 area code. The third stage is for a 1 month after the end of the permissive dialing period when 10-digit dialing becomes mandatory in the 202 area code before numbers can be assigned in a new area code. The Commission is required to approve the petition and the implementation schedule in order to facilitate the transition to having a second area code in the district. This community hearing is being held to provide interested persons who wish to comment on the NANPA petition an opportunity to do so. Representatives of organizations shall be permitted a maximum of 5 minutes for oral presentation. Individuals shall be permitted a maximum of 3 minutes for oral presentation. Written comments or statements can be filed until the close of the record, September 4th, which is Friday, 2020, by sending them to Brenda Westbrook Sedgwick, Commission Secretary, Public Service Commission of the District of Columbia, at psc-commissionsecretary@dc.gov. We will start this virtual community hearing with a presentation by Beth, and I think this is Sprague from NANPA, followed by the pre-registered witness, and then any other participant who wishes to speak. While you are speaking, please speak clearly and loudly, since there is a court reporter recording these remarks. Our first speaker from NANPA, please begin your presentation. Do we have them on the call?
Yes. She's on a call. I think she'll be beginning shortly. Miss Sprague?
I'm dialed in on the phone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Okay. I just can't figure out where to do the sharing from my computer. I don't seem to have that option.
Just
Chair,
one.
I can pull it up on my computer. Give me 1 second.
Okay, we can share for you.
Sorry.
No problem.
The Commission Secretary's office saves the day.
It's a PowerPoint. And that's the very last slide. Okay. Everyone ready? I'll start talking. This is just an overview. Hello, my name is Beth Sprague. I work for Somos Incorporated, which is the company that's contracted by the FCC to act as the North American Numbering Plan Administrator. You can go to
Ask everybody to
slide.
please mute your phone if you're not speaking.
Okay, you can go to the next slide. All right, so the purpose and the objective. The purpose of this high-level presentation is just to provide you an overview of the NANPA, the area code relief planning process that we use, and the area code relief method being considered by the Commission for the 202 area code. You can go to the next slide. This is a little bit about the NAMP and NANPA. The North American Numbering Plan, the NAMP, is an integrated telephone numbering plan serving 20 North American countries that share its resources. The plan was introduced in 1947 to facilitate direct distance dialing, really to facilitate long distance dialing. The NAMP number format, it's the MPA, NXX, and then XXXX, with the MPA being the area code, the NXX being the central office code. It's often referred to as the prefix, and then the last 4 X's being the telephone number, the line number. So the NANPA is a neutral, non-governmental third party selected by the FCC to administer telephone numbers for the U.S. and the territories, and that's our website right there, NANPA.com. And you can go to the next slide. One of our responsibilities is area code relief planning, which means we track number usage. We receive numbering reports from all service providers in the U.S. We forecast when each area code is going to run out of prefixes. We work with the regulatory commissions and the telephony industry to introduce new area codes, and we typically start that process 36 months prior to the forecast exhaust. Then we facilitate the development of an industry consensus relief plan, which we forward to the Regulatory Commission in the form of a petition. Once the Commission approves the petition, NANPA initiates a meeting of the industry to begin the actual implementation of the approved relief plan. So you can go to the next slide. Some of the factors that we consider when we're forecasting is the history of code assignments. If there's an increase in the demand, the individual telecommunications service provider growth forecast, which they provide us twice a year, and the current growth in the telecom industry. You can go to the next slide. As far as 202 and that area code background, the 202 is one of the original 86 area codes as defined for the NAMP in 1947. The 202 is unique. It has only one city served by one rate center, which is the Washington Zone 1 rate center. Number conservation measures, such as thousands block pooling, was implemented in 2002, and that helped to extend the life of the 202. If the number pooling had not been implemented back in 2002, the forecasted exhaust at that time was 2006. So that extended the life. Right now, the 202 prefixes are forecasted to exhaust by the third quarter of 2022. And you can go to the next slide. As far as the number of prefixes remaining, as of today, there are 23 usable prefixes in the 202 area code. So new area code is needed to replenish the supply. NANPA declared jeopardy on August 3rd. Jeopardy situation occurs when the forecasted or actual demand for prefixes exceeds the known supply during the planning and implementation interval for relief. And furthermore, on August 20, the industry got together and decided on the final jeopardy procedures, which means rationing is in place right now, allowing up to 3 codes be assigned each month. This rationing assures that the remaining supply will last until the new relief can be in place. And so you can go to the next slide. This slide just shows the different relief methods that are used. You'll see over on the left, area code splits, which used to be somewhat the prevalent form of relief. Splits require an area code change for approximately 1/2 the customers, and they also permit 7-digit dialing. I'll note that splits have not really been implemented in the last 14 years. The last one was in New Mexico. The area code overlay method, which is over on the right, is the most prevalent kind of relief. At least it's what we've been doing the last 10 to 15 years. With an overlay, there'll be more than one area code in a geographic area. An overlay will not require existing customers to change their area code, but an overlay requires customers to dial 10 digits for all calls. There'd be no need to revise any kind of stationery, business cards, or any signage unless the signage contains 7-digit phone numbers. An overlay will end further shrinking of the geographic size of an area code because it will cover the same exact geographic area. So you can go to the next slide. As for the relief methods, as you read in the petition, the overlay is the only method that's permitted for an area that has a single area code with all prefixes or the majority of the prefixes in a single rate center. And the overlay is the only one required per the guidelines that NANPA is required to follow. I put those on the bottom, the NP relief guidelines. And you can go to the next slide. This is kind of dark. It's a map showing Washington Zone Rate Center, and you'll see the bordering Maryland and Virginia. As I said, all customers would retain their current telephone numbers. 10-digit dialing would be required for all calls, local calls, toll calls. The projected life would be approximately 51 years. So you can go to the next slide. And the proposed relief for 202 in the petition is the area code overlay with a 51-year projected life. And I think there's 2 more slides. Here are some more of the impacts. With the overlay method, the FCC has mandated 10-digit local dialing between the old and the new NPAs. That was a mandate from 1996. All current customers will keep their existing area code and telephone number. All customers must dial 10-digit to complete all calls, including local calls. Dialing an area code does not change the cost of a call, does not mean the call is going to be billed as long distance or toll. If there are any calling areas, which is pretty much going away these days, rates won't change. Calls to 911 as well as the other N11s will not be affected and will continue to be dialed with 3 digits. And then you can go to the last slide, I think. These are the implementation periods during a proposed overlay. The permissive 10-digit dialing period. The customers can dial numbers from the 202 area code to other 202 numbers using 7 or 10, but they're encouraged to start using the 10-digit procedure. Permissive dialing usually lasts several months, typically about 6 months. Then the mandatory 10-digit dialing period. During the mandatory 10-digit dialing period, everything must be dialed with 10 digits. If a customer dials 7 digits, they'll reach a recording stating that they must hang up and redial using 10 digits. The actual introduction of the new area code typically occurs about 1 month after the mandatory 10-digit dialing period. So So unless there are any questions, that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Do we have any questions or comments from Commissioner Beverly?
I do not. Thank you for the presentation. It was very clear and concise.
Agreed. So we will now turn to, I believe we have one pre-registered public witness, Carl Mason. Carl, are you on the line or are you on the WebEx?
I'm on the line. I'm here. I'm on the WebEx. My camera isn't working. I apologize for that.
That's quite all right. We can hear you loud and clear, sir. So
Okay.
please proceed with your comments.
Okay. Well, my name is Carl Mason. Good afternoon. And I wanted to come to the hearing to speak to suggesting an area code. The area code would be 852. And the reason why I picked that area code, because it would be in honor of one of my friends. Those were his initials, and he was a native Washingtonian. He loved his city. He represented this city more than anybody I know. Also, one of the few people that I came across, he lived in every ward in the city.
Wow.
So I just wanted to come and find a way to honor him, and I thought that this would be one of the best ways. I researched the 852. It doesn't seem like anybody has that area code. And also, it's an area code that represents TLC. And that's something that the city can use, you know, in the current state that the world is in and how the city is affected by all of the craziness that's going on. I felt like it would be a great way for DC to sell the area code, as well as just being symbolic of the city needing tender love and care. And I'm glad I heard about this hearing. I'm also happy if I could be a part of this suggestion and contribute to my community, because that's something that I love to do, is contribute to my community. I participate with the ANC. So this is something, it will be something great. And it's the small things like this. And I think it'll be a great representation for the city.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Mason. I have to say that is an excellent suggestion. I will just underscore for now, the determination of what the new area code will be hasn't been made. And that is, there's a process for that. But I think that 852 is a great suggestion. Everybody loves 202. I think that there's a lot of pride in the District of Columbia built up around our area code. You can see people wearing T-shirts that just say 202, and you know that they represent the District of Columbia. So this is a big decision. And so I think that having something with a connection to the people would be great. So I really appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. With that, okay. Are there any additional, let's see, is there anyone else joining the community hearing via WebEx that wishes to speak? Please click on the raise hand icon so that you can be unmuted when you are called on. Those calling in to the community hearing who wish to speak, please press *3 to raise your hand. Please identify yourself, any organization that you represent before you begin your testimony. So hopefully we have some other folks who are on the line and willing to speak. Commission Secretary, do we have anybody raising their hand?
I do not believe so, sir.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, with that, I want to once again thank everybody, Ms. Sprigg, Mr. Mason, for joining us today and providing their testimony. A recording of today's community hearing will be available tomorrow on the Commission's website. Copies of the transcript will be available in the formal case number 1165 docket. This concludes the formal case number 1165 community hearing. Thanks, everyone. Bye.